For West Virginia, the key for them tonight, Muldrow and Montgomery must stay out of foul trouble. If they get in foul trouble, it could be tough for West Virginia. And for Baylor, keep an eye on number 4, Christy Wallace. She set a
second chance points were 33 for Baylor. In the second game, it was more even. It was a closer game. West Virginia has got to board up. And Baylor, protect the paint. This West Virginia team so good at driving to the rim the last time they met. They aggressively attacked the rim, and Baylor has to protect the paint.
Now, Kalani Brown, a little quick jump there, able to get the tip, and Baylor goes on offense. They're on pace to set a tournament record for points per game and rebounds. There's Davis.
Quick little pick and roll to get Nina Davis started. Nina Davis has been the most outstanding player in this tournament 2 times in her career. And it's a very good possibility. If she starts like that and plays like that, it'll happen again tonight.
Shania Ray throws it away and then comes up with a steal. Brown to beat, and she does.
And that's what you got to do if you're West Virginia. They turn the ball over, they got it right back and scored. You do not want to get down big to Baylor early. You have to have a strong start.
Baylor has set 11 records this year. They lead the NCAA in 9 different categories. Wallace works off the pick. Now Montgomery on the switch. Shot clock at 7. Cohen, who has played outstanding, the little floater short. Scrum for the ball. Cohen comes up with it. Wallace, quick pass.
Cohen is the player that has gotten a starting nod ever since Alexis Jones has been out. And she has played great. With that first shot, she short-armed it a little bit. This is her first time in this tournament final atmosphere. And so we'll see what kind of game she has tonight.
Here's somebody who's been in this situation before and has been hot as Alexis Prince. She misses her first shot of the ball game.
She has been outstanding over the last 3 games. The last game of the year against Oklahoma and the 2 tournament games, she has been on fire.
How about the last 3 games? She's averaged 21 points, 65% from 3.
That was interesting. Kalani Brown jumped out on the on-ball screen and is on Tyneese Martin. Martin didn't score the first time, but Brown was way off her. Tyneese Martin had an open look, and she has been so good in the Big 12 championship here. Surprised that didn't go down, but interesting for Baylor to have a complete switch on that on-ball screen.
Christy Wallace, we mentioned the 15 assists versus Kansas State. 22 assists, 6 turnovers in the tournament. She's 6 assists from a new tournament record in that category. Brown saw the double. Good ball movement. Prince wide open, makes him pay. That's why she is 65% from beyond the arc in the tournament.
They had to bring the double team on Kalani Brown. Great pass out, and then the extra pass to get it to the open player.
Now she was 4 for 4 from 3 versus Kansas State in the semis. She continues that hot streak. Does somebody other than Martin have to come up big scoring for West Virginia tonight, Brenda? Because everybody's going to key on Martin out here.
Well, there's no doubt, and Muldrow is a big part of that. And she, depending on who matches up, whether it's Davis or one of the bigs come off the bench, I think that's a favorable matchup in some ways for West Virginia because Muldrow can pull them out away from the basket.
Brown being covered by Shania Ray. Now Muldrow picks her up. Brown posts her up. Wallace, baseline jumper. Underrated as a shooter, but she's good.
There's no doubt. She has been instrumental in that point guard position since early in the season. I think has made a huge difference on this team.
Tyneese Martin knocking down the 3.
There was again a big on Martin and not going to be nearly as quick as Tyneese Martin getting the ball off.
Prince tries to answer another offensive rebound, something Baylor is very good at doing during the regular season. They averaged 18 offensive rebounds a game.
They get all over the offensive boards, and Nina Davis is a big part of that. Well, earlier we saw Kalani Brown getting the ball on the block. So here she is, and you're going to see the double team come, and then the nice passing out and around, making that extra pass to find the open player. Good vision by 6'7" center. And then the extra pass by Christy Wallace. You see her pointing. She had 15 assists. You mentioned that earlier in the semifinal game. She's going to find the open player on that.
You know, when we have watched Christy Wallace over the last couple of years, especially this season when she's become the primary ball handler, she never gets tired.
No.
I don't think you and I have ever seen her say, Coach, I need to come out and get a little rest.
No, and she's the kind of player that dives on the floor and makes extra effort and gets a lot of charges. And it's a good matchup between her and Shania Ray. There are a lot of good matchups all over the court. Nina Davis and Muldrow, Prince there, and Martin. Here we go.
Martin does not even hesitate. She is now just 11 points from 600 in her 2 years at West Virginia.
She was last year's newcomer of the year and elevated to first team All Big 12 this year.
Montgomery with a rejection. That is her 94th of the season.
Two of the biggest bigs in the Big 12 Conference. The advantage for Baylor is behind Brown, they bring in Mom Premier, Lauren Cox, and Khadijah Cave. So Brown can afford to get in foul trouble. Montgomery cannot.
Montgomery with the putback, and especially Mike Carey, the head coach of West Virginia, will play only 7 players. 3 players tore their ACL before the season even started. Brown, offensive rebound, the left-handed putback.
Yeah, that's what makes this West Virginia team not deep.
Right.
They only go 7. This is their 3rd game in 3 days. They played the late game on Saturday night. They played the 2nd game yesterday. And it's been a few hours since that last game, but they've played a lot of minutes over the last 3 days.
Mike Carey in his 16th season, career leader in wins at West Virginia, led the team to a school record 30 victories back in the 2013-2014 season. He has done an outstanding job, and he is so proud of his kids. He was telling us today they have had the best week of practice heading into the tournament. They've even had to tell them, okay, let's relax a little bit because the practices were so competitive. Wallace pull up, a little double clutch.
We've seen Christy Wallace really step up here in the early going. If Shania Ray is going to go and help with others, then Christy Wallace is going to take advantage of that. So we'll have to see how that adjustment is made.
And the 3 goes down again for West Virginia. That has been their bread and butter so far tonight.
Well, and that's the answer to your question, Ron. Do others need to step up besides Martin? Absolutely. Muldrow, Pardee, Montgomery have already scored in this game, and that's why West Virginia has 15 points before the first media timeout.
Well, Katrina Pardee coming into the tournament, 69% shooting, knocks down the shot.
They leave to double team. Christy Wallace is going to mix it up and make a lot of things happen. So those two have a lot on their shoulders tonight.
One of Baylor's fortes are inbound passes, and West Virginia worked extensively on it while they've been here in Dallas. They covered that up pretty well, too.
Mike Carey about got Christy Wallace right there in front of him.
Beatrice Mom Premier is checked into the lineup for Baylor, and Baylor another offensive rebound, and they throw it away into the hands of Martin. Got it into the hands of Shania Ray. Back to Muldrow now on top. Muldrow played 9 minutes and 8 minutes in the opening halves of the first 2 games. Pardee's pull up.
Now, Lene Montgomery already out of the game for West Virginia. Mike Carey told us that he will sub her out of the game when he feels like she's getting tired. And already you see different post players in for Baylor as well. It was an up and down affair those first 5 minutes. So new post players in for both.
Martin on the drive. Montpremier with the rebound. Khadijah Cave also in the lineup, and she's running the court well for Baylor.
I feel like when you play Baylor or any of the elite teams, you have to be mistake-free. And so out of the timeout, Pardee misses a shot as well as Martin missing a layup. And then they allow an inside shot by Nina Davis. You can't make many mistakes. The room for error is very thin.
Davis, we asked Kim Mulkey to describe Davis's performance in the tournament. She said she has been spectacular, and none of us would disagree with that.
And she said really all 3 of our seniors,
Right.
Alexis Prince as well as Khadijah Cave, these seniors want to win their 4th title in a row.
And there's a good look at Kim Mulkey, another 30-win season for Baylor, coming in at 30-2, 17-1 in conference play. 7 straight Big 12 regular season titles, 8 overall. Looking for their 7th straight tournament title. That's 6 that they've already won, longest among men or women in the country.
And you may think, well, wait a minute, what about UConn? Hasn't UConn won that many tournament titles in a
Right.
row? And they haven't. Notre Dame knocking them off the last year in the Big East, so they haven't won as many tournament titles in a row as Baylor.
West Virginia 0 for their last 3 over the last 145, but they still lead by 1 for head coach Mike Carey. You know, and talking to the players, and look at that, I'm telling you.
And she's going to get a round of applause from the Baylor fans.
Well,
for
she
that.
wants the game to get going.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Like, let's not be wasting time. Let me get down here and take care of this.
You know, I was talking to some of the West Virginia players today, and I said, you know, okay, great. You won yesterday in the semifinals, get to the finals. Is there too much excitement because you're in the finals? They go, no. They go, we came to reality last night immediately that we want to cut down the nets.
This is a team that came into the Big 12 championship feeling like that if they lost their first round game, they wouldn't even get into the NCAA tournament. And tonight, they have an automatic bid within their grasp. By beating Oklahoma and Texas, 2 ranked teams, they've certainly solidified their berth in the NCAA tournament. They're going to get an invitation. They can only help themselves out tonight.
Foul was on Kalani Brown, by the way. Tiny Smartin at the line. The greatest line, though, was last night after the game, after West Virginia beat Texas, and walking in the bowels of the Chesapeake Energy Arena, and Mike Carey looks at me and says, so you think we got into the tournament? And I said, it's still on the bubble, buddy.
Well, they knew how important these games would be, and they have answered the call. It has really been impressive how West Virginia has stepped up in this setting, because it's been an up-and-down season for them with their lack of depth. They've had games where if they get in foul trouble or if one of their players is off that they really need to step up, you know, they've had some big losses. And look at this, Iowa State beat West Virginia 2 times this year. And Iowa State, another one of those teams considered, you know, on the bubble or at least on the right side of the bubble now. But keep that in mind, Iowa State beat this West Virginia team twice.
But Baylor is the favorite. They go inside. Brown at great position. Martin to Ray. Kalani Brown jumped out in front of her.
Baylor not in sync offensively here early. And so can West Virginia take advantage of that? Can they string together some points here and build on this lead?
Muldrow has it knocked away. Good defense by the Lady Bears of Baylor, who are just 1 of their last 5 shooting.
Nina Davis and Muldrow, keep an eye on that matchup.
Brown tried to lob it into Cox.
Oh, and Kim Mulkey not happy about that at all. Muldrow driving past Lauren Cox. So Baylor has a couple of bigs in, and Muldrow, we saw her do that last night against Joyner Holmes, the freshman from Texas. Savvy player is Tiana Muldrow. Okay, I've got another big freshman on me. I'm going to take her to the basket, and she does just that.
Well, she had 20 points against Baylor in the last time these 2 teams played, but Tiny Martin, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc already today.
Oh, my.
That's just unbelievable.
That's the way she's been shooting. If you haven't been following the tournament, and this is your first time to tune into the Big 12 tournament, that's what she's been doing in the upsets of Oklahoma and Texas. She's been unreal.
7-0 run now for the Mountaineers. Brown got position inside. Montgomery just puts the hands up. Cave, no. Rebound, Muldrow. Shot clock turned off. Final 20 seconds here in the first, and it has been exciting.
If anybody had a question if West Virginia was going to come ready to play or not, question answered.
Half of their field goals made have been from beyond the arc. Ray, no. Wallace will have 2 seconds to work with. Half-court shot on the way, just on the right side.
Played her best. 21 points in the quarterfinals, 29 in the semifinals, and 3 for 3 from three-point range to start things off today.
West Virginia ending quarter number 1 with a 7-0 run. Last night in the semifinals, all their points in that game by the starters. And that's the case so far here in the early going.
Hey, Christy Wallace got popped in the mouth by Alexis Prince, her own teammate, just now.
We'll keep an eye on her. Wallace up ahead. Davis has to reach behind to pick up the ball. Hand off to Prince. Shot clock at 10.
Baylor trying to spread the floor, a little pick and roll action, nice pass.
And Muldrow will pick up the foul as Brown muscles her way up. And that'll be number 2 on Tiana Muldrow. And she is going to have to go out.
So a pick and roll. You see that on that left side, Kalani Brown gets the nice pass, and now Tiana Muldrow is going to have to go out, and that's a blow for West Virginia.
Brown doesn't get it. Davis comes up with it. Missy, you were in West Virginia's huddle at the break. What was going on with Mike Carey?
Coach Carey talking to his team about what they needed to continue to do defensively. They want to force Baylor to have to guard them out on the perimeter and through the shot clock. But defensively, they've got to continue to pinch, and they've got to help on screens. And obviously, they've got to rebound the basketball, keep Baylor off the offensive glass.
You know, it always drives a coach crazy when you talk about that in the timeout and you come out, and that's exactly what doesn't happen. And that's what didn't happen on the end for West Virginia. They didn't defend the pick and roll very well, and Kalani Brown was able to catch that, although that pass went where nobody could defend it. And then Nina Davis gets an offensive rebound on the free throw.
Well, now without Tiana Muldrow in, Christina King has checked into the lineup. She has to play big. They got great minutes yesterday in the semifinals from Anja Martin, the sophomore out of San Antonio. I'm sure we'll see her in action, but you've got to pick up that slack with Muldrow out.
Christina King was the Junior College Player of the Year last year, but she's had a tough time kind of figuring out where she fits in all of this at West Virginia. But she did play a really good game when these two played in Waco. That was interesting. Did you see that? Christy Walls, when she went down, kind of kicked and ended up kicking her own teammate.
Well, I was mainly watching Montgomery, who tried to make sure the officials realized that she didn't cause that collision. She put her hand up like, I didn't do anything. Denise Martin does it all now with a rebound.
Well, the first shots are not going in for Baylor.
Martin doesn't hesitate, just takes it right to the hole.
And showing that she is not just a three-point shooter. She can get to the rim as well. So explosive. I love the story she told us today about her dad, who's 6'6", played at Auburn, would stand and just extend his arm and say, shoot over it. And that's how she learned to get her arc up and have a good shot.
Alexis Prince has missed a couple in a row, but she finally gets one to go down.
Well, that's important.
Oh, that's huge for Baylor.
Baylor struggling here, very unusually here in the early going, and got to find a way to get into rhythm. So often that's inside out, setting up the interior game, looking for their perimeter shots, but so far the shot's not going down for Baylor.
Prince loses Martin momentarily. Shot on the way by Brewer, no, tipped around. King lets it go out of bounds. It'll be West Virginia's basketball.
Wow, extra effort by Christina King. I thought she might have touched it last.
I thought so too. Shania Ray comes in. Tiny Martin going to get a little bit of a breather.
Well, it does look like, is that Cave or Montpremier? That's Montpremier underneath.
The three buried. Katrina Pardee in the tournament, 69% shooting. She was 3 for 3 from beyond the arc in the semis. Then Brown has it rejected. Prince sets the feet, lets it fly. Got it.
The mid-range jumper by Prince, the first to go in for a while for the team. She stretches it out to three-point range. I'm talking to Kim Mulkey about Alexis Prince's performance this afternoon at shoot-around. She said she has been scoring at an elite level.
Pardee, flick of the wrist, high bounce, doesn't get it to go. Wallace pulls it down. She's got Cohen on the left, loses the handle, and it'll be West Virginia's ball, but not because lack of effort from Christy Wallace.
Christy Wallace mad at herself, dribbled right off her leg as she kind of ran into Christina King as she was pushing the ball. You see her slamming her hand, just frustrated with herself that she didn't stay more under control. She is a high-energy, high-intensity point guard, and everybody knows Kim Mulkey was a high-energy, high-intensity point guard. And, I think that's part of this formula for Baylor is, Wallace so much like Kim Mulkey in a way.
Brewer, no off the mark. Montgomery offensive rebound. Shania Ray Wallace really the only ball handler now on this team with Jones out.
Oh.
Prince keeps a hand up and lets out a screen. Prince and a Martin battle going on right now here in Oklahoma City. Angie Martin's checked into the lineup now for West Virginia. Mike Carey did not like that defensive breakdown on Prince's last three. Prince jumps out on Martin. The pull-up. How quick is that? Over two Baylor defenders.
And I was watching that matchup the whole time. Prince, with her long arms, was making it difficult for Martin. And Martin drove toward Nina Davis, and it was Davis that she shot up over.
Martin with 15 of West Virginia's 29 points, and Nina Davis, she's got a half a dozen in the game.
They're going to dare Nina Davis to take that shot, which she is capable of taking, but West Virginia would rather have her take that shot than drive to the rim.
And Mike Carey was saying that today. He goes, we can live with that shot from that part. Martin loses it. Montgomery dives forward. It'll be Baylor's basketball. Let's go back to Tynese Martin again.
She keeps the ball. Look at, she is defending, and then she uses the screen from Angie Martin to go over Davis, and then Nina Davis comes back and answers on the other end.
Angie Martin in the two games versus Baylor this season, only 26% shooting, much better so far tonight.
Switch there by West Virginia.
Brown, Montgomery battling. Now Brown pops out. They give her that shot. She takes it. Here comes Ray.
Again, Kalani Brown capable of making that shot. But if you're West Virginia, you'd rather her take that shot than 6'7" right at the rim. So they're willing to concede some things here and make Baylor beat them, the bigs, from the perimeter.
Cohen now on Martin, and the length may have gotten her there. Brown kept it alive. Wallace knocked it, but it belongs to Baylor.
That was as far off as I've seen Tynese
really?
Martin. She might have been she had to have been passing as hot as she has been.
There's that ball going out of bounds. I thought Wallace may have been the last one to touch it.
Boy, that was close. Can't check it, though, till the last 2 minutes.
Right. 3:25 to play. Prince again, no. Good job, Montgomery, just using her backside to try to block everybody out. Martin wide open. Missed her last two, but King comes up with the offensive rebound.
When Montgomery stayed in the backcourt, I think she was waiting for her teammates to score.
Whistle and a foul.
Nina Davis tried to step in and take the charge. I thought Tynese Martin may have been forcing a little bit here. Well, that's close, but I don't think Nina got her feet down in legal guarding position before Tynese Martin went up for the shot.
Yeah, that is Davis's first personal foul. Tynese Martin, 79% from the line. Honorable mention All Big 12 first team All Big 12 this year.
You know, how smart of Tynese Martin, although she misses the second free throw there. She had just missed 2 shots. So instead of forcing up and trying to get a rhythm from outside the arc, she took the ball into the paint. It's a good way to get your rhythm back.
Montgomery takes it away. You know, and Mike Carey was telling us it's so special for him that they want Lene Montgomery to go out her senior season with a big, big win. And that's been talked about among the players. Pardee for 3, buries it.
West Virginia is one of the teams in the Big 12 that believes they can beat Baylor. They did 3 years ago. It seems like it's not that long ago, but 3 years ago they won in Waco and shared the Big 12 title that year. And they've always battled Baylor well, except in the game in Morgantown this year. Other than that game, they've always had great matchups between them. They're two teams that both play primarily man-to-man. They're both aggressive, pressure on the basketball, in the passing lanes, fight through screens, just rugged, physical, rebounding, get into the paint kind of teams.
Boy, that time Cohen got all over Pardee. She's 6 of 7 from beyond the arc the last 2 games. Swing it out. Ray for 3. Bang! Timeout, Baylor.
Shania Ray on the backside. Look at the quickness. She can get around, and it had to be Wallace to come over, leaving Shania Ray open. That's why Ray was so open for that three-pointer.
And then off the hands of Prince, and Baylor's scoring drought is now over 3 minutes. They've missed their last 4 field goal attempts.
So what Baylor had that little spurt. They had Alexis Prince make 8 points in a row. Nina Davis hit one. They had some energy. They were back in it, and West Virginia has answered.
West Virginia not backing down at all. This reminds me of the start they had in the Oklahoma game. Martin's fouled, but it doesn't matter.
She is in some kind of zone. There are her parents right there. On the aisle in the black shirt is Terry. Played at Auburn back in the day with Charles Barkley. And Barkley might even be happy about that one. Yeah, they're pretty excited. And you see Terry getting the shoulder treatment. Tynice Martin, 18 points already here in the first half.
She was funny last night. I said, we had your dad on. He goes, did he give his token one clap and then sit there? And I said, yeah, pretty much so. He goes, well, believe me, he's excited. Davis inside does draw the contact. Great players do that. When they see their team is kind of floundering, Nina Davis said, I'm going to see what I can do.
And that's just the first foul on Lene Montgomery. I tell you what, I've been really impressed with the play of Lene Montgomery so far. She has been on the boards. She's stayed out of foul trouble, which has been an Achilles heel of hers throughout her career. And she's been out there setting those picks on the ball.
Right.
We've seen Kalani Brown have to jump over in a couple of occasions, either switching or trying to help. And West Virginia is really taking advantage of that.
Montgomery jumped in a little too quickly. No, it was actually Kalani Brown jumped in first. Montgomery just was following her, and she got kind of a sheepish little grin on her face as she's going down the other end.
Well, I think they both did. I mean, they're two bigs that were trying to, beat each other. That is such a battle between those two. But Kalani Brown can't go in if her teammate is shooting the free throw.
Martin slips, keeps the dribble.
Cohen is defending her now.
60 seconds left to play in the half, and it's been the Tynice Martin show. King over the outstretched hands of Cox. No. Here comes Wallace, looks to push it. Works on Pardee, lowers that shoulder and uses the glass.
There's the grittiness of Wallace. My team needs a basket. I'm just going to go hunt one down.
Prince with 11, Wallace with 6 for Baylor.
Shania Ray was a little close to a 10-second call that time. She just got over when it hit 20 on the shot clock.
7 to shoot. Got to get the ball into a ball handler's hands. King working on Cox. 1. Not going to get it off. Shot clock violation. Kim Mulkey wanted to travel. Doesn't matter. You got the ball.
Well, that's the guard's fault. You said it needs to be in the ball handler's hand. Somebody needed to come get the ball from Christina King as the shot clock was winding down. She tried to do what she could to create something. And Mike Carey, I think very smartly, is taking Lene Montgomery out so she does not pick up her second foul here in the first half.
Once again, Tiana Muldrow playing only 6 minutes in the opening half. The trend continues of the previous 2 games. She's got 2 fouls. Wallace stops, floater, doesn't get it. Put back, yes! Kalani Brown. The onus on her because they can't afford to lose her scoring.
She doesn't typically foul. Look, that was a stat that I was looking over today because knowing she'd have to stay with Martin, she averages 1 foul per game. And as she has to defend so many great guards in the Big 12 and usually has the toughest assignment, the fact that she doesn't typically foul is pretty remarkable.
Montgomery, who didn't score in the semifinals, got 4 in this ball game, and the lead balloons back to 11. Davis leaning inside. Muldrow could do nothing.
Well, first of all, Muldrow was giving her a cushion to encourage her to take that shot, and Davis said, I'm going to take it to the rim because I know you have 2 fouls. So a very smart play by Nina Davis on the first possession.
And she's 4 of 4 from the floor tonight. Cohen trying to stay with Martin. Muldrow had a step. Pardee in and out. And they're going to call the foul on Montgomery going for the ball. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from the first 20 minutes of play. You can see both teams shooting in the 40 percentile range.
And West Virginia 7 of 16 from 3-point range. And a big part of that, of course, the 3 for 7 by Tynese Martin. Rebounds, fairly even, edge for Baylor, just by a few.
And Baylor cuts into the lead. We have talked a lot about Christy Wallace, the junior out of Queensland, Australia. She's got 9 in the ballgame to go along with 6 rebounds and 4 assists tonight.
So Cohen is having to defend Martin. Boy, she got stuck behind the screen.
Another 3.
That is Tynese Martin reading her defender and then just being red hot.
Is that the quickest release we have seen this year?
Well, Brooke McCarty from Texas has an awfully quick release, but the way Tynese Martin has been stroking it and getting it off has been fun to watch.
Martin now with 22. Cohen on the drive. Montgomery got her hand up, may have gotten a piece of it, and here comes Ray. 3-on-2. Pardee will take it with a right hand in the layup.
Well, that's hard to get a fast break layup against the Baylor defense, and I don't think they were hustling back as hard as they needed to, and Pardee took advantage.
Baylor number 1 in the NCAA in field goal percentage defense. Nina Davis stays perfect from the floor.
And that we heard that from Mike Carey at halftime. Missy Heydrich with a great interview, and he said they're going to give that up.
Cohen staying right by Martin, who now runs around a couple of picks. There's that quick shot over Kalani Brown.
I say if that goes in,
I'm
forget about it.
I'm leaving.
Because the outstretched arms of Kalani Brown made that awfully tough.
Muldrow on the dish from Ray.
And a nice quick action toward the paint again. There's where West Virginia was successful in Waco, at least keeping it close in that game, but they've been aggressive and attacking.
Well, Muldrow gave Davis a lot of room and then lunged at her. She did miss the shot. Here is Tynese Martin's quick release.
Well, she runs Cohen through this screen. Cohen goes under, and Montgomery kind of spins and turns and gives her a little extra help. But don't go under the screen on Tynese Martin.
There is no question she's adjusted to the way people have covered her. The scoop, but she does draw the foul, and the West Virginia bench gives her a standing O.
That time, Cohen got out there, was defending her outside of the arc, wasn't going to let her have that 3, and so she just turned the corner, splits 3 defenders, and goes up under the arm of Brown. And you can see by the body language from Kalani Brown, they are frustrated by how difficult it is to defend Tynese Martin.
I think everybody that's played her in this Big 12 postseason tournament would agree with that.
So back to the question that we mentioned in the first half. A lot of people that have asked me over the last couple of days, why in the world is West Virginia number 6 seed? Why didn't they play better in this league? And my response is because they're only 7 deep. And the reason is there were games that they got kids in foul trouble, and there were other games that they were kind of pacing themselves and didn't go full effort for 40 minutes, and Big 12 teams are going to take advantage of that. And there were a couple where, players just didn't step up and play, and Big 12 teams take advantage of that too. They have played hard and with energy and smart and good defense and solid offense. They have brought it all together in this Big 12 tournament, the team that you would expect them to be.
Well, Martin got a step on Cohen, who then is called for the foul. She is so quick. You're in a kind of a tough situation because you want to make sure you cover her the outside shot, but she has the quickness to dribble drive.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, because she's shooting so well from 3, and she's already made 4 in this game. She made 4 yesterday in the semifinals. She made 4 in the quarterfinals, and Kim Mulkey, it's like, we got to figure out how to defend her. She is so good from 3-point range in this tournament and has been, that you got to get out on her, and then there better be help defense come when she drives to the rim.
Well, she's 8 of 9 from the free throw line this evening. 22 of her last 24 she's hit from the stripe. Montpremier over Montgomery. And they'll give her that shot all day.
Well, that's the strategy, and it's been working so far. They are double teaming the low post and encouraging the shot from the high post. And when Baylor hasn't settled for that shot and just taken it to the rim. They've had some success, but they are settling for that shot right now.
Shot clock at 10. Now Prince on Martin. Give it up. Ray for three. Muldrow, the offensive rebound. Montpremier with a rejection.
And it must have been a foul on the floor.
There was a foul, I guess.
I don't think they called it on Montpremier, though, did they?
No, I don't think so. Let's double check before we say who the foul is on. It's going to be on Cohen. That'll be her second. And Tiana Muldrow played only 11 minutes in that first half, but that's been the MO for her during this tournament. 9, 8, and 11 first half minutes. Here's that block and foul again.
Well, Muldrow skies to get the rebound, and this aggressively takes it in. And while Cohen's behind her, she must have had a hand on her or something, because it was a clean block up top by Montpremier, and they're saying a push in the back by Cohen.
Biggest lead for the West Virginia Mountaineers over the Lady Bears of Baylor.
Baylor has not found themselves in this position often. They were down big in that Texas game and made that huge comeback to tie it late, but then Texas got some baskets from Joyner Holmes in the last minute of the game that allowed Texas to win.
In her bench, but Natalie Cho is checked into the lineup. She is a three-point shooter.
And Baylor picking up in some full court pressure. Going to see if they can either speed West Virginia up or maybe force some turnovers. That's where having a veteran point guard like Shania Ray that runs the show so well, a real asset for Mike Carey. And Tynese Martin taking a break on the bench right now, so who else is going to step up and score?
Tough shot by Pardee. Muldrow can't do it. Prince gets the rebound.
Boy, she had a point-blank range look. That was good defense. Somebody got a hand on that quickly.
The double team. Montpremier tried to split it to no avail.
Montpremier had a great game against West Virginia when they played in Waco. She scored 8 points in the first quarter, and she turned her ankle. And then she missed about 5 games after that and hasn't really completely come back fully herself.
Pardee with a three. Cave jumped out at her. May have altered the shot a little bit. 4 minutes to go here in the third. Biggest lead of the game for West Virginia at 15, and Baylor turns it over. Cox and Kalani Brown.
Elfin, Mike Carey almost looked like on that one, like this is pretty incredible.
And you can see the Lady Bears only 3 of 7. Baylor putting on some pressure, and you talked about having a point guard with the savvy that Shania Ray has, and she went right through it.
Well, Missy Hydrick gave that report at the beginning of the game about the point guard matchup. And another three-pointer. It has been a big part of the arsenal tonight. And sometimes when you've got that leader, Martin, who's been making them, everybody else feels like, hey, I want to get in on the act too.
That's the first bench point by either team tonight. Brewers 3. Kim Mulkey, after the turnover, just turned around and just shook her head.
And Lauren Cox has not played well in this Big 12 tournament. And you saw Kim Mulkey just imploring her, we need better play out of you. You have to get in and at least provide production of some sort and not a turnover. Look at this. We saw this in practice today, and some of the players for Baylor were kind of giggling a little bit like, oh, we're not going to run a 2-3 zone, and they do.
Muldrow misses, but the tip. And we'll give it to Montgomery. I'm not sure whose hand exactly got on it.
And when you're in a zone and you're not used to being in a zone, nobody blocked out.
Well, they're going to give it to Montgomery. And another turnover. The lead is 20, the biggest lead of the game for the Mountaineers of West Virginia, inside of 3 to play in the third.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
How about Baylor? 4 turnovers the last 3 minutes and 38 seconds.
They're still in that 2-3 zone. Yeah, you got to find Martin. Why not throw the ball to Tynese Martin if you're West Virginia?
There she is. Has it rejected by Brown into the hands of Cho. Cho can light it up quickly. The pass down to Brown. That was a tough pass by Cho.
And that might be what it takes to spark Baylor, because Kalani Brown got the block shot, and then she sprinted harder than anybody else on the court to get down and receive that pass.
2 minutes to play in the third.
Okay, West Virginia has to be a little confused here as to why is Baylor playing a zone. I mean, it's just so out of their character, but I think Kim Mulkey feels like we got to do something different. Shake it up a little bit. Change things up.
Davis set the check back into the lineup. Kalani Brown colliding, goes down hard. How about Kalani Brown? You talked about her running down the court. She wanted the ball.
Well, it was after she blocked the shot, and then look here. She is in front of everybody, and at 6'7", the sophomore sprints, calls for it, puts a hand up, catches, and then jump stops into place. I mean, you talk about the athleticism of this kid. She is so much more fit and lean this year than she was in her freshman year. She is so strong and powerful. But to run full speed and catch it and then jump stop and go up and be in position to score, that's pretty impressive for Kalani Brown. And to me, she had one of the best seasons of all players in the Big 12 this year.
Well, she talked to us about 2 weeks ago how she changed her diet, spent more time working out in the offseason. She's going to go out. Davis will come in. And she said, you know, when we started practice back in October, we started doing sprints, I wasn't tired. And she said, wow, this worked.
Yeah, that revelation from that freshman to the sophomore year when you put in the work.
Again, West Virginia breaks the press. Martin on the right. Muldrow takes it herself.
Don't set up against the half-court zone. Just go through the press and score on the other end. Aggressive play by Muldrow. Great passing in the backcourt. So the depth that Kim Mulkey has relied upon all year just not coming through right now.
Muldrow has to knock it off the foot of Cave.
I mean, she has such talent, Kim Mulkey, in her starting five, but then she'll bring in Khadijah Cave, a senior. She'll bring in Mom Premier and Lauren Cox and Natalie Cho and others off the bench, and they're just not producing today.
Only no bench points for Baylor so far tonight. Tyneese Martin, a rare miss. King, good offensive rebound. They'll set it up again as we go inside of a minute here in the third.
And so it's certainly slowed down the West Virginia offense because of this zone, but Baylor's given up some offensive rebounds. They gave up the layup through their press. I don't expect Kim Mulkey to stay in this very long, but I think she just needed something to try to change the pace of this game a little bit.
Davis leans in on King, has got the two. Davis now with a dozen in the ball game.
That time Davis didn't settle.
Up ahead, Brewer shall have the layup as they beat the press again.
Where's anybody back for Baylor? There was no one back.
Wallace, she'll take it herself. The scoop shot, no. 17 seconds left to play in the quarter.
That was a mistake by Christy Wallace because they needed to just save it for the last shot of the quarter, and a little panic mode that time to just go and throw something up.
Deep. Muldrow drains the three. My goodness. In the finals, going into the final quarter, West Virginia has only done it once, and you can see the rebound average only +1 tonight for the Lady Bears. But the Mountaineers only once have they been in this Big 12 final. How will the last 10 minutes of pressure get to them? Prince opens up the scoring. Missy, you were in the West Virginia huddle after the third quarter.
Ron, Mike Carey talking to this team about how you got to dig in, that they cannot let up. The message is you can rest on the way home, but they have got to be sure and know Baylor can make a run. You got to get out on the three-point shooters and continue to be aggressive and smart on the offensive end.
And get good possessions, I would have to think. But you don't want to go turtle. You don't want to just all of a sudden climb into a shell.
Nope.
Pardee, no. Prince with a rebound.
West Virginia did have a situation this year where they were up by 12 against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma made a fierce comeback in the fourth quarter. They were up by 12 starting the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma came back and beat them in double overtime. Muldrow taking care of business on the back end of that defense. This is bigger lead for West Virginia than just 12, but
it's also Baylor, who can put up a lot of points quickly.
exactly. And Baylor, that's won 6 Big 12 tournament titles in a row, and West Virginia hasn't won a tournament title since the 80s.
Prince, the pull-up jumper. Montgomery put her hand up. I tell you, Muldrow got her second personal foul at the 9:09 mark in the second, but she has not lost her aggressiveness on either end of the court. Shot clock inside of 10.
Staying in the 2-3 zone.
Off the foot of Cho. Didn't call it a kick. Wallace will take it, the reverse, and a whistle and a foul.
Well, I'm not sure why West Virginia was hesitant to get Tynes Martin the basketball against this zone. She was down in the left corner, and there were no defenders anywhere near her, so why not move the basketball and try to get around this zone, in and out of it?
Wallace now with 10 points to go along with 5 assists. 1 assist now away from a new tournament record here in the Big 12. She has tied the old record. And Wallace gets the second. And that lead is now down to 17. A lot of time left. Prince jumped up and covered Pardee up quickly. Now Wallace is trying to keep an eye on Martin. Jumps out in front of her. Pardee for 3. Ball tipped. Ray thought she had it. Wallace got it. 2-on-2. Wallace, the fall away. What a shot by Christy Wallace.
Watch out.
And then the trap.
6-0 run to start the fourth quarter for Baylor. West Virginia solved it a couple of times, this 2-3 zone there at the end of the third quarter, but not being aggressive.
Muldrow for 3. Yes!
Huge. Absolutely huge for West Virginia. They look tentative. They don't look like they know how to attack this zone right now. They're surprised by it in this game. But their three-pointer comes through again.
Lonnie Brown count the basket, and she'll go to the line. Christy Wallace is having a whale of a game doing her part tonight.
Well, changing speeds, creates a little space for herself. Muldrow with that deep three-point range. There are several three-point shooters on this team that if you're going to play the zone, you got to get out and cover them up.
Kalani Brown with a timely free throw.
Mike Carey was not happy about how they defended Brown that time.
Kick by Davis, and Shania Ray looks at Deanna Muldrow and the rest of her team and said, you got to come to me. And she's still telling him, you got to move up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's how they were getting through the full court press when Baylor first started putting it on. And they were passing through it, and they were getting through, but they're kind of going away from that, fading away from the ball right now.
Shot clock at 10. Martin hasn't had a whole lot of shots. Muldrow with a scoop. No, it's on the drive, the foul. And it'll be on Kalani Brown. That'll be her third personal foul. First team foul on the Lady Bears of Baylor. Muldrow back to Ray. Dangerous pass. Ray stops, leans in for the 14-footer. Davis tracks down the loose ball. Prince. Cho, she can shoot it. Doesn't get it. Martin touched it over her head.
Offensive rebounds. Such a big part of what makes Baylor so tough.
Davis, the spin move. Muldrow.
I think a few players thought there was a whistle. I thought I heard a whistle.
I heard a whistle too. But there wasn't one. And a timeout, Mike Carey. And I think this is a good timeout. One of this ball game. Baylor's biggest lead was 3, and that was at about the 7:45 mark of the first. Stolen by Wallace. Muldrow gives her the body, and Muldrow's going to pick up the foul, and that'll be number 3 on her.
Well, Baylor had outscored West Virginia 9-3 here to start the fourth quarter. Mike Carey had called the timeout, presumably to talk about how to attack the 2-3 zone. And then they don't even inbound the ball cleanly. And we talked about it. West Virginia, whether they could be very fatigued being in their third game 3 days, just like Baylor, but a tougher path, or, you know, the pressure of potentially winning a Big 12 title on them, and Baylor bringing it right now.
And that is just an ill-advised pass. Possession arrow, though, will belong to West Virginia. And Mike Carey throws up his hands. And you can see the last 10 champions, Baylor has won the last 6.
Texas A&M not even in the Big 12 anymore. The last other team other than Baylor in the Big 12 that's still in it to win it was Oklahoma in 2007.
I'll tell you, West Virginia being very careless on their passes. We saw it in the Texas game late in the semifinals where Brooks McCarty was given an open shot. They could have tied it.
Well, they're being very tentative right now, and they need to get back to being aggressive like they were in the early going. This zone has certainly done that to them.
Davis with a rejection, and a shot clock violation will be called against West Virginia.
Nina Davis with the block. Mike Carey had just called the timeout about how to attack this zone, and too much passing around the perimeter, and Nina Davis gets a hand up. Shot clock violation.
I think you hit it on the head, Brenda, that they're not being as aggressive as they were. They're almost playing not to lose now.
It certainly looks like it right now.
Kalani Brown had position, and Montgomery's going to be whistled for the foul. And that'll be her 4th personal foul.
She has played so strong against Kalani Brown inside. Here in the fourth quarter, they've been able to get the ball into Brown.
Now you're going to have to bring in King, take out Montgomery for a couple of minutes. There's only 5:17 left.
And watch for them to go to Kalani Brown, throw it up in the air here on the inbounds, or look how she seals it for the high-low.
Davis leans in. And Nina Davis with 14.
That's again Nina Davis recognizing. We saw her doing that early in the half, in the third quarter. They're not guarding me. Instead of going ahead and shooting that elbow shot, she puts it down on the floor and attacks. There hasn't been a penetrating pass against this 2-3 zone. There's finally a drive inside, but it's been all passing on the perimeter.
Tynice Martin has been quiet, gets the shot off, doesn't go. Boy, Kalani Brown wanted the ball early. Now she's leaning on Muldrow. Martin comes over for the double, but the foul's going to be called. That's going to be on Tynice Martin. That'll be her first personal foul.
And it's because of the 5-team fouls that she's going to the line, because it was on the pass. This is where I'd like the rules committee really to take a look at this. I like that the fouls get reset at the end of each quarter. That's fantastic. But to automatically award 2 free throws, I still would love to see us go back to at least having 1-and-1 for a while, because earning the free throws in this situation, I just would rather see it that way.
I also like seeing them set the shot clock at 14 instead of giving them a fresh 30, too. Tynice Martin only 1 of 5 shooting in the second half for West Virginia. Lead down to 10. It was 21.
West Virginia really needs to score on this possession, because if Baylor gets within 10, they already are like sharks after it in the water right now. If this game turns because Kim Mulkey goes to a 2-3 zone, that will be quite a story.
Foul was on Cho, by the way. Tynese Martin finally gets a basket to go down, and that was huge.
She just guided that ball into the basket that time. She's missed her last couple, and it didn't look like that smooth flow jumper that she had before. She just willed it in.
Davis on King. Talk about trying to will the ball down, but it wouldn't go in.
So they got inside. Finally, we've seen Shania Ray dribble, penetrate that zone for a little action to collapse the zone a little bit. And then they kick out. They get an open look, and Martin just tries to guide it in. And it is fortunate, I think, for West Virginia that they lengthened it out to 12 points. I think that was a real key possession.
Baylor on a 14-5 run. Here comes the press again, and Muldrow wanted to get it in quickly, but nobody was really open. Brewer. Shania Ray lost the handle. Ball still loose. Ray comes up with it.
And two Baylor players fell on it, and it got away, and Kim Mulkey tried to call a timeout. She's upset because she thought she got a timeout called while her two players were on the floor with it. And when they knocked it away from one another, watch it, how two Baylor players are there, and it gets away. Now, Muldrow may have had a hand on it, or Kim Mulkey may not have gotten it called in time, but either way, the timeout request was not recognized.
9 to shoot. Ray looking for Martin. Davis jumps out on her. Muldrow with 2, lets it fly. Doesn't get the roll. Offensive rebound. King thought she had it, but she is fouled on the play by Baylor.
Wow.
Great effort by Christina King.
Christina King was asked to come in when Lene Montgomery picked up her 4th foul, and she hustled and maneuvered, and you see the foul there. Great angle as Prince came over and tried to rip it out of her hands once she got it.
That's only the 3rd team foul on Baylor so far here.
West Virginia needs to use as much of the shot clock as they can. Boy, Muldrow thought about that one, didn't she?
You and I both went, no. And it's a travel call with 3:07 to play in the ball game.
Saw Mike Carey, got to get a stop.
Lonnie Brown, great position inside. You can't stop her when she gets down that far.
Heck of a pass, and what hands by Kalani Brown.
She's got 17. Muldrow, 2-on-1. They hold it up. Ray took her eye off the ball before she ran.
So can Baylor get to 70 in 2.5 minutes? You bet they can. So West Virginia has to keep scoring.
Shania Ray goes down hard, no foul call. Prince comes down with a rebound. 9-point West Virginia lead. Brown just bumps Muldrow out of the way. Brown's got 19, and all of a sudden, the lead is cut to 7. 3-on-1 if they hurry. Muldrow. King. Back to Muldrow. Brown with a rejection. But it'll belong to West Virginia as Montgomery comes back in.
West Virginia is just trying to hold on for dear life. They are not playing aggressively. They're just trying not to lose. And you can see it in every pass they make and every movement they make. They don't want to lose this game. And Baylor is jumping all over that.
The 3. No. Rebound. They'll set it back up again. Tynese Martin only 2 points and 6-10 in the 3rd quarter. She's got the ball now.
The fact that hit the rim is remarkable because it hit the backboard so hard. But a fresh 30 seconds here. Is Baylor going to come out and try to foul? Because West Virginia can use a lot of time here.
Baylor's got some fouls to give. Muldrow being guarded by Cho. The turnaround. Cho gets a piece of it. And then stolen by Ray. My goodness.
That's the kind of play you need to make if you're West Virginia. Don't play scared. Don't play not to lose. And then, did she just get a technical? So a technical foul. The emotions got the best of Wallace there. But that's the kind of play you need to win, is to be aggressive. And so Shania Ray jumps the passing lane, jumps it, grabs it, and Christy Wallace wants to go after it. Shania Ray, a great ball handler, and you see Wallace, boy, she thought she made a great play, and then slamming the ball against the scorer's table going to result in a technical foul. Boy, what a not a smart decision by Wallace, just really letting her emotions get the best of her.
We talked, though, she is a competitor and she hates losing at anything. And that'll send Shania Ray to the free throw line, 84% on the season. A rare miss for her. Shania Ray had hit her last 11 free throw attempts, 4 for 4 in the tournament, gets the second one to go. Lead goes back to 8. And West Virginia, more importantly, will have the basketball, Brenda.
Right, and that's the unsporting technical foul as Tyna Napier came over and reported. It's West Virginia getting the ball back.
And 30 seconds to work with.
Yeah, the fresh shot clock. You know, what Baylor has been blocking the shots. West Virginia's played tentative here, and Mike Carey going to call a timeout and getting everybody over there and get everybody on the same page. All tournament team recognitions, but I know the competitor that Nina Davis is. She would trade that all away to come back and get a victory right now.
15 seconds to shoot, 1:05 to play in the game. Brewer was calling for some help. Montgomery back in the lineup. Ray, one dribble, the step through, shot no. Montgomery had the rebound and gets pushed out of bounds.
And Montgomery, remember, had been on the bench with the 4 fouls. Christina King with some valuable minutes, but she's only a 51% free throw shooter, so he puts Montgomery back in, and Montgomery is fouled. Boy, she really leveraged her situation, pushing Brown under the basket to be able to get that offensive rebound.
%72% on the season for Montgomery. That's her first free throw attempt tonight.
Baylor will push the ball up quickly, and you've got to think, either get the ball in the hands of Kalani Brown or attack. Alexis Prince has been pretty quiet here in the second half, but look for her to get some three-point looks. Yeah, they dribble in, kick it back out to her.
No. Wallace dives for it. Tiny Martin comes up with it, and she'll come out of the pack, and then she'll be fouled.
Well, they got the play they wanted.
Absolutely.
Alexis Prince has been so good in this tournament. Christy Wallace with that dribble in and kick back, so they got to look.
And Tiny Martin will make her way down to the free throw line. 28 points in the ball game, 8 of 9 from the stripe.
West Virginia came into this tournament not knowing if they would be invited to the NCAA tournament. They felt like they had to get at least one win, probably 2. They beat 2 ranked teams in Oklahoma and Texas on their way to facing Baylor, and they have played from the lead this entire game. They aren't finishing out very well.
Wallace knocks down the 3. Timeout, Baylor. They'll have.
Now, West Virginia has one timeout. They could call a timeout to advance it to the front court.
Up ahead, Montgomery tips it to Martin, who's fouled. How did she know that Tiny Martin was to her right?
She didn't. She was just trying to corral the basketball. Boy, that's a kind of dangerous pass, but you've got 2 of the biggest players in the Big 12 going at it, and then she just tips it over away from Kalani Brown, and Tiny Martin just happened to be there. And she makes her free throw, more importantly.
Misses the second. 7-point lead, final 21 seconds. Prince launches the 3. Prince doesn't get it. Rebound. up ahead, but we've got a foul on Martin. 14.3 left to be played in the ball game.
14.3 can't go fast enough for Mike Carey at this point.
I'll tell you, that gum's gotten a workout tonight, hasn't it?
It certainly has.
Frustrating night for Kim Mulkey, trying to win their 7th consecutive tournament championship.
Dug themselves too big of a hole.
Yeah.
We're down 21 points at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Chinese Martin's parents here.
Terry's got to show some emotion one of these times.
And that's her brother. That is a player that she plays for. He is such an inspiration. Her 17-year-old brother, Trey, and he is so excited.
And they're also out of timeouts now. Neither team has one left. Wallace looking for Prince, gets it to her. Launches the long 3, no. Rebound controlled by West Virginia. 6.9 left.
Well, they got the shot they were looking for. And remember, this Baylor team has been without their leading scorer, Alexis Jones, since the 2nd quarter of the Texas game. They have played extremely well in her absence, but we were told today that they expect her to be back for the NCAA tournament. So they will not have to play without their leading scorer once the NCAA tournament is here. And a lot of players have stepped up in her absence, but it was the play of West Virginia tonight.
Brewer calmly steps up to the line, hits them both, and that's going to do it. West Virginia will upset the number 2 team in the country and the top seed in the tournament. West Virginia with their 2nd conference tournament title.